You're not exhausted because life is too hard. You're exhausted because you're trying to control something that only God was meant to handle. You keep replaying the same thoughts, trying to fix what won't change, holding on to something you already feel God asking you to release. But you don't, because letting go feels like losing, like giving up, like stepping into the unknown without knowing if God will really catch you. So you stay. You overthink, you try harder, and instead of peace, you feel heavier, more anxious, more stuck. Maybe the problem isn't your situation. Maybe it's that you still haven't released it to God. And maybe the moment you finally place it in His hands is the moment He begins to move in ways you never could. Stay with me, because this might be exactly what God wants you to hear right now. Letting go starts when you accept you're not in control. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. You're not struggling to trust God. You're struggling to give up control. You want clarity, timelines, guarantees. You want to understand everything before you're willing to surrender anything. I remember a young woman who kept holding onto a relationship that was clearly falling apart. She kept trying to fix it, replaying conversations, overthinking every detail, not because it was right, but because she couldn't accept losing control of how it would end. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That means you don't wait to understand. You choose to trust first. And here's the lesson. Control creates pressure, but trusting God creates peace. The moment you release control is the moment you make room for God to lead. But sometimes holding on isn't just control. It becomes something even deeper. Another thing you need to understand, holding on too tightly can actually become disobedience to God. This might be hard to hear, but not everything you're holding on to is meant to stay. Sometimes the pain you feel isn't just from the situation. It's from how tightly you're trying to keep something God is already removing. I remember a young woman who kept going back to someone who kept hurting her. She knew it wasn't right, she felt it deep down, but she kept reopening a door God was clearly trying to close. Ecclesiastes 3:6 says, "A time to keep and a time to throw away." That means not everything is meant to last forever. And wisdom is knowing when to release it. Here's the truth. That's not faith. That's resistance. And when you resist what God is ending, you don't just lose peace. You delay what He's trying to do next. Because God can't move you forward if you keep holding on to what He's already ended. But even when you finally let go, it doesn't mean the fear disappears. Trusting God doesn't mean you won't feel fear. Let's clear something up. A lot of people think that if they truly trust God, they should feel calm all the time. But that's not how it works. Fear doesn't just disappear. Even strong believers feel uncertain. They still question. They still hesitate. I remember a young woman who felt God calling her to walk away from something familiar, but she was terrified of what would happen next. She didn't feel ready. She didn't feel strong. But she chose to take the step anyway. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you." Notice it doesn't say you won't feel fear. It says you won't face it alone. Here's the lesson. Trust isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing faith in the middle of it. And even when you move forward with fear, you'll realize something important about letting go. Letting go is a daily decision, not a one-time act. This is where most people get it wrong. They think letting go is something you do once, and then it's over. But in reality, your mind will keep going back to worry, back to control, back to what if. I remember a young woman who finally decided to move on, but the next morning, the thoughts came back. The urge to check, to fix, to control, it was still there, and she realized she had to choose again, and again, and again. Matthew 6:34 says, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." That means surrender isn't something you do for the future. It's something you choose today. Here's the lesson. Letting go isn't a single moment. It's a daily habit of trusting God. And when you start choosing that every day, you begin to understand what letting go actually looks like in real life. What letting go actually looks like in real life. Let's make this real. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, and it doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing. It means you stop forcing what God is removing. You stop chasing what isn't choosing you. You stop reopening doors that God has already closed. I remember a young woman who finally stopped texting someone who kept ignoring her. It wasn't easy. She still cared, but she chose peace over chasing. And slowly she started to feel lighter. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." That word cast means you don't hold on to it. You release it. Here's the lesson. Letting go is not about losing control. It's about changing your posture from control to trust. And when you start living like that, you begin to see that maybe what didn't work out wasn't meant to. Sometimes God removes things to protect you, not to punish you. This is one of the hardest things to accept, because when something doesn't work out, it feels like loss. It feels like rejection. It feels like something went wrong. I remember a young woman who didn't get the job she really wanted. She questioned everything, wondering why God would close that door. But months later, she found herself in a place that was healthier, better, and more aligned than she ever imagined. Romans 8:28 says, "In all things God works for the good of those who love him," not just the good moments. All things, even the ones that don't make sense right now. Here's the lesson. What feels like a setback could actually be God's protection. And when you begin to trust that, you start to let go differently, not with fear, but with faith. Peace comes after surrender, not before. Most people get this backwards. They're waiting to feel calm before they let go. They think, once I feel better, then I'll trust God. But that's not how it works. I remember a young woman who kept holding on because she didn't feel ready. She was waiting for peace, but peace never came until she finally decided to release it. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds." Notice the order. First you bring it to God. First you surrender, then peace follows. Here's the lesson. Peace is not something you wait for. It's something that comes after you let go. And when you finally experience that, you realize you were never meant to carry it alone. Let go, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Maybe right now there's something in your life you're still trying to control. A relationship, a situation, an outcome that just won't change. And you've been carrying it for so long, it feels normal, even though it's exhausting you. I remember a young woman who finally said, "God, I can't do this anymore." Not because everything was fixed, but because she realized she was never meant to carry it alone in the first place. 1 Peter 5-7 reminds us, "Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you." That means you don't have to hold it together. You just have to hand it over. Here's the lesson. You don't need to figure everything out. You just need to trust God with what you can't control. If this spoke to you, comment, "I trust God," and share this with someone who needs to hear it today.